Apollo is so strong, he has an attack that only Zeus, the supreme god, is capable of stopping in the divine realm. He is the Greek god who grinded his way up from nothing, gaining the abilities to be known as the god of philosophy, poetry, medicine, archery, prophecy, boxing, and finally being recognized as the sun god, who defeated Leonidas in round 9 of Record Ragnarok, putting the gods back in the lead. Today I'll be breaking down how strong this monster truly is, then going over who he would and wouldn't win against out of the fighters so far in the series. I hope you enjoy. When it comes to character or narrative statements, Zeus claims that Apollo is hard to understand and loves to mock all of us. However, he is strong, giving high praise to his son right away before the fight even begun. Furthermore, during the fight itself, he claims that Apollo won't lose to anyone, as no matter when or where, he answers everyone's expectations without fail, allowing him to shine and become so strong. This connects to his ability to get stronger throughout a fight, and according to Zeus is something that transcends logic and common sense. Therefore, with regard to his flashback, it's because Apollo knows himself so well, he has the mindset to continually improve. His divine weapon is known as the Threads of Artemis, capable of defending him from Leonidas' full strength attack. For example, Apollo creates them with light energy to surround the attack right before it really hits him, mitigating the damage. However, due to the power of Leonidas, it cannot defend him entirely from the damage, so it's best not to fully rely on this defensive measure. Regardless, it's claimed by Brunhilde that the Threads of Artemis can be used for attacking or defending. With their infinite uses, they are one of the strongest divine weapons there is, demonstrated with him creating these boxing gloves to fight with, revealing, as mentioned before, that he is the god of boxing, with superb footwork as claimed by Zeus, being capable of dodging all of Leonidas' attacks in this exchange, alongside doing decent damage from a single blow, and showing the ability to dominate with divine outboxing. However, his strongest battle mode is known as Embrace of the Eternal Midnight Sun, which seems to increase pretty much all of his stats. As mentioned before, Apollo is a god who continues to grow stronger, alongside having the ability to actually bind his opponent's movement with these threads and land this deadly combo, pulling Leonidas back and forth into his fist over and over. So it's clear that Apollo has some pretty decent moves. However, the attack that puts Apollo as one of the strongest gods in the entire series without a doubt connects to him summoning Artemis Moonlight Glow. This results in his bow to be created with the use of light arrows, resulting in his ultimate technique, which is simply broken. Confirmed to be as fast as light itself, with the ability to pierce straight through the likes of Leonidas and the arena itself, having the legend that if it hits a human, they die instantaneously, with Hermes claiming it's the fastest hit in the divine realm, and Zeus himself making the claim that he is the only one in the divine realm who can stop that arrow, meaning it takes someone with an attack and speed that surpasses time itself, that can spam attacks that are surpassing time to deal with Apollo in this situation, who can literally spam these arrows like nothing. Furthermore, it's capable of harming gods, as the one arrow being deflected by Leonidas due to instinct did this amount of damage to Apollo, and if needed, Apollo becomes the legendary Silver Arrow himself, claimed to be the strongest of the divine realm, which broke through Leonidas' shield, which is regarded as the strongest shield in all of humanity, meaning when it comes to durability or defensive measures, there isn't really anyone who can survive this ultimate attack. But now let's get into who Apollo can defeat, but to do that we need to go over some Leonidas scaling quickly. So we have some narrative things to break down. Brunhilde seems to have set up Leonidas as the one fighting Apollo prior, as once finding out that he was the god's next fighter, she went straight to Leonidas to ask him to fight, in which he declined, claiming that he would only be the first or final fighter, Until of course Brunhilde revealed that Apollo was fighting, which connects to Leonidas' flashback that Brunhilde was definitely aware of. This in combination with the one other time Brunhilde almost chose Leonidas as interesting. For round 3, when Poseidon came out as the fighter regarded as the Zeus of the seas, she considered fighters like Nostradamus, Hu Wang and Leonidas to face him, implying to a degree that these three are viewed as more powerful gods worthy of fighting a major threat like Poseidon. And then with that in mind, we saw how Apollo was able to destroy Leonidas throughout their fight. I would honestly say it was a mid-difficulty win. Furthermore, regarding Apollo's final attack, if you consider the name for what it says, it's possible that it actually penetrates the soul itself, meaning it's completely durability negating, which is pretty interesting, and could very well be a way to explain the ending of the fight itself. However, we do see his attack physically break Leonidas' shield or volume, so keep that in mind. Which brings us to all the other gods and humans that have fought so far. Let's break down who he would and wouldn't win against. So the characters I believe Apollo would actually defeat, the loaded victories include Raiden. Can't really do anything against the likes of Apollo. He pretty much only has one decent attack, and all of his defensive measures won't really work too well against Apollo's arrow. Hercules, defensive wise, he doesn't have anything. Yes, he is quite a tank, but even when it comes to speed and skill, he doesn't really stand a chance. Jack the Ripper's skill set doesn't really help him in any way, and Zero just gets destroyed in pretty much not really being on the same level as someone like Apollo in any regard. When it comes to the mid-difficulty victories, I have Lu Bu. Yes, he has impressive power, but speed-wise and skill-wise, he can't really be comparable to Apollo, especially with his bow and arrow, something that is pretty much the defining factor in which makes Apollo so strong. A similar thing for Hejun, even though he does have some little decent defensive measures to a degree due to his abnormal body, this isn't really enough to deal with Apollo literally spamming an attack that could be the fastest in the entire series. When it comes to the high difficulty victories or characters, I would say Apollo is more likely to win, but they do have a chance to push him to a high degree. I have Hades. So when it comes to feats, he isn't really all that, but if you only consider narrative and how he's portrayed in the story by the other gods, Zeus did give him a lot of respect, so you could say he is capable against really anyone, but I can't say he would actually defeat Apollo. Hu Wang's moveset is quite overpowered, however going against light based arrows kinda counters him to a degree. He's definitely enhanced by hand to hand combat, not really the ranged battle. Even though he has the means to weaken Apollo, the light arrows will definitely take him out. I think a fight against Shiva would be pretty interesting, especially considering he's regarded as Heaven's greatest brawler. So a hand-to-hand exchange between the two would be pretty wild, and I would say Shiva is probably better at that regard, even with Apollo being the god of the boxing with insane footwork. Shiva is pretty much the best in that regard, but then once again the arrows, even though Shiva has unpredictable movement, the light speed attack will honestly just blitz him and take him out like that. Thor is always controversial and hard to rank due to him pretty much mid-diffing Lu Bu in their fight and not really demonstrating the full extent of his power. Of course, by the end of the series I hope we get more of an understanding once Loki and Odin fight, but considering the statements we do have about him, raw strength wise and attacking ability, he could maybe one-shot Apollo. However, speed wise he can't really do anything against the bow and arrow, so if Apollo was pushed to a degree, causing him to pull this out right at the start, he pretty much wins. A similar thing with Poseidon. Even though he's one of the fastest gods in the entire series, these statements made by Zeus and Hermes, this puts Apollo's attack above that and this wins the fight. Then we have Tesla as well. I do think he still loses, however considering his teleportation, he does have a chance to a degree, and his moveset is quite good against someone like Apollo. However, he does require a lot of setup, and if Apollo is just spamming attacks like this, he doesn't really have a chance. Now onto the fighters I would place in either way. So Beelzebub versus Apollo. They both have a means to pretty much defeat one another. Beelzebub has Chaos and Apollo has his Arrow. They both have the means to pretty much one-shot one another. It really depends who lands the attack first. That's what's decided with that. Sasaki Kojiro has the ability to scan Apollo to such an insane degree, he could get a speed amp that actually surpasses him and takes him out like that. But of course, considering the statement from Hermes and Zeus once again, you could say it's more favourable for Apollo to win this. Buddha's only real chance is his Future Sight. If Apollo was to use himself as the arrow, he goes straight through Buddha's defences and takes him out like that. Future Sight could give him an understanding of what's going to happen, but is he able to react? That's the big question. Adam, always controversial, it depends whether he can actually copy Apollo's attacks. I could imagine him turning himself into an arrow to a degree, but summoning something like this to initiate the whole process probably can't happen. So yes, even though Adam can copy his speed and power, or surpass it to a degree, that does give him a chance, but it's a little bit wacky. I'd have to make a full video to give a full breakdown. And the one character I think is definitely more likely to defeat Apollo than not is Zeus in his Adamas form. Once again, claimed by Zeus himself, he's the only one capable of stopping Apollo's arrow, and that's probably due to having the ability to surpass time. But that's everything for today's video. Apollo is amongst the top as one of the strongest characters in the entire series, without a doubt. Let me know what you think down below. Subscribe, join the Discord, shout out to his Patreon mad lads. But that's it guys, peace.